proud to introduce our next speaker, the valedictorian of the class of 2009, Mr. Brian Watson.
First and foremost, I would like to say hello and thank you to everyone who is in attendance tonight. As I look out upon the audience, it is clear that quite a lot of people have shown up for this momentous occasion. While I really do appreciate everyone in the audience, I can't help but say all the faces surrounded by the podium are making me more than slightly nervous. There sure are a lot of you out there and you're all looking at me right now. I actually took a public speaking course back in 9th grade, and although that helped me to improve my skills, I nonetheless get nervous before every speech I give. I'm shaking right now. For instance, back during the NHS induction in October of last year, I made the mistake of referring to our wonderful advisor, Madame Kaplan, as Mr. Kaplan, which, although slightly embarrassing, proved to be of immense humor to all of you, well, except for me. So I invite all of you to take a deep breath along with me. It was my nervousness that actually kept me from planning the majority of the speech until late Wednesday night after the awards ceremony. Until then, I can honestly say that the realization of this moment marking completion of our high school careers had not fully set in. When I went to the school yesterday to visit both teachers and friends, the office actually told me I was supposedly not allowed to go visit classrooms because I disrupt learning material. But I guess that's understandable considering how much of a slacker and a troublemaker I am, so I apologize to the office for having done so. I was given a visitor's badge, and as I walked around the hallway with that visitor's badge on my chest, it was quite an incredibly surreal experience as I was stuck in limbo between my past and my future. Looking back on my 4 years at Bellingham High School, it's curious as to how many memories we have all made. But even more curious is to think of how many memories we will actually remember later down the road. For instance, will we remember the first day of freshman year? I honestly can say I don't remember that day at all, and even now when I try to think about it. What about the multiple proms and homecomings we went to? Well, I suppose that would depend on what happened both during and after. What about the party at 251? All the holy havoc and the stanky there? Actually, I'd give it a hell yes to that one. The memories that we will keep with us past high school will undoubtedly be our choice and ours alone. Those memories that have shaped us into whom we truly are will most likely stay with us as long as we make a conscious decision to retain them. I, for one, hope to remember some stories from my high school career so that when I'm older, I can have the storytelling abilities of Mr. Flurry. Countless stories, but all interesting and amazing. All too often, as I'm sure we've heard, many high school friendships deteriorate within a year or so of graduation. I, however, like to remain optimistic and believe that we've not only made lasting friendships, but also that there are still many more to be made. Making and maintaining friendships is an ongoing process throughout life that should never end, as it may truly be one of the most important factors to living a happy life. And I hope to stay friends with all of you, by the way. My nose. Just last weekend, I was talking to my dad and the subject of college was brought up. As I recall, I think he had been trying to motivate me into starting my non-existent speech, even though I did my best to assure him that I was not procrastinating, and that if need be, I could do it the night before. As we went into a detailed discussion of my future college life, I began voicing some fears, such as how I could possibly live on my own when I had lived in a shelter home for 18 years. Sensing my apprehension, my dad took the time to tell me a short story. He said that when I was entering the first grade, I remarked about how scared I was that everyone but me would be able to do perfect addition and subtraction, write superbly, and read just as well. I can honestly say at this time I'm still reading along with the tape, and the only thing I've mastered is turning the page to the beat. And imagine all this as a first grader. Jeez. Every single time I would voice this fear, he would always tell me the same 5 words. That's what school is for. Each year throughout high school, as my personal and educational expectations have increased, I've experienced that repeating sense of discomfort. How would I possibly be able to keep up with school, or with my friend and competitor Spencer Wyant for that matter? And nonetheless, those 5 words of wisdom proved to be correct. School has continuously prepared me, as I'm sure it has also prepared you, for the challenges to come. Elementary school helped prepare us for middle school for high school, and high school for whatever will face us next. High school has given us the knowledge and wisdom necessary to pursue our next challenge, but also, more importantly, the people skills that will unquestionably help us in later life and ultimately define who we are. I'm sure that every one of us has had to deal with difficult teachers such as, I'll leave it up to your imagination, I'm not going to mention any names, or a fellow student who either had different beliefs or was simply someone who we could not get along with. Nonetheless, the ability to deal with different types of people is probably one of the greatest things that high school could have hoped to teach us. For when we enter the real world, as the shelter that we've been at for the last 4 years or so, we are going to find that at best, our high school is a mere microcosm of how things really are. We're going to learn that we are greatest when we appreciate our differences. Why is there conflict, ranging from the torment of a school bully on an innocent student to wars that decimate the lives of many and throw the world into chaos? Simply put, it is because people fail to get along with one another. The ability to truly tolerate and respect people is an acquired skill that makes us great. For in the end, one can only hope to work hard, be kind, make friends, and avoid unnecessary conflict. There's one thing that I can ask of all of you here today. It is that you strive to appreciate your differences and have the patience and wisdom to coexist with each other. It is a challenge we must face every day, and it's not always easy. But by doing so, one can thereby hope to live a long, rewarding, and prosperous life. I'd just like to say that I hope I didn't frighten anyone out there. I didn't mean to be as serious as I was on a joyous occasion like this. We've gone through 4 years of high school, and now it is our time to fully enjoy ourselves. I wish the senior class of 2009 the best of whatever we may choose to do, as I most certainly hope we can all stay in touch. I look forward to playing rock band tonight at Opera. Thank you.